Hello, bonjour, Agathe Mathieu here. Welcome, welcome. I'm a Living Cuisine chef and I've been doing this for 18 years. So I have gathered quite a bit of information, making sure that I'm keeping healthy, that at the time my children were young so that I kept them healthy. And today we'll talk about our microbiome that is key to our health. It is. It's right in our, the biggest microbiome, I should say, is in our gut. But actually, we have a microbiome in our brain, eyes, nose, lungs, heart. Every single part of our body has its own microbiome. The most important one is in our gut, and that one sends out nutrients to the rest of the body. And did you know, that's remarkable when I learned that we are more microbes than human cells. So there are approximately 39 trillion microorganisms and 30 trillion human cells in our body. So we have more microbes than human. You see what I mean? They've been with us for a long time, as long as we are on this planet, and they are highly interested in keeping us healthy, so they remain alive. That is also to tell you that if they've been with us since the beginning of time for us, they have developed, an organism that keeps being alive, keeps adapting to the environment. So our microbiome kept adapting to what's around us, and that way being stronger and stronger and stronger. We heard of that for viruses. Yes, they do that. But our microbiome does the same thing too. So we can count on our microbiome. It's just a remarkable system, so brilliantly done. Of course, Mother Nature knows what it does, right? Very clever. So, when you think of it, you don't gas up your car, water your car and gas up your plants. So for our microbiome is the same thing. We must give it the food that it needs to perform. And when you think of it, is that too has evolved and has maybe given our microbiome harder time than it would otherwise be easier for it to perform. And what I mean by that is not that far back. Well, as you can see, I'm in my 60s. I'm 63 years old. So my grandparents had a garden. My grandparents made food at home. They sprouted, they did fermented food. And we now, for the sake in calling it convenience, don't make our food so much anymore. Certainly not too many of us have a garden, even like a box on their balcony growing some herbs. Not too many of us do that. So we have moved from making our own food from our garden to our plate, basically, like, minimally processed in the sense of clean and cut and peel and, that sort of thing. In my case, it's Living Cuisine, so we use dehydrators. In the case of cooking, then it's a stove, it's an oven, but it's minimally processed. So we moved from that to getting our food from the grocery store, which means that then it's to the point, or it could be highly processed. Let me walk you through something here. Maybe you've heard of the NOVA food classification. You can Google that. It's a very, very interesting document. So the NOVA food classification. Group 1 is the unprocessed or minimally processed foods, just like I was telling you, from the garden to your plate. Group 2 is the processed culinary ingredients, which is oil. You had to, extract it from the olives, extract it from, there's so many variety of oils right now, but they have to extract it. It's not the olives that you eat anymore. It's the oil that has been extracted from it. Or the sugar, which is processed so it gets to a crystal. So I'm not talking about fruit sugar. Like in my recipes, I use dates to sweeten. I use bananas. So, or stevia. Stevia is basically also a whole plant that when you buy the stevia, it's been dehydrated. So that's what I use. But when I say sugar here in the group 2, I mean the sugar that has been refined, like processed to get to a crystal form. And then the salt also, that you need to extract from the rock. And I don't know, I'm not familiar with all the processes of the salt. I use Himalayan salt. So I believe that, it's taken from the rock. It's been protected. It's in the mountain for so many years. It hasn't been affected by all the pollutants. But it's like there is salt in celery. There is salt in food. So, you can play with this to not add so much salt as in the crystals into your food, and use food that is salty. And then the group 3 is the processed food. It's, what's canned and bottled and packaged and what you find in the grocery. So now we're starting, you see what I mean? We're starting to get further and further and further away from the garden. And the group 4 is the ultra processed food. So they are formulation of ingredients that are typically created by series of industrial techniques and processes. Well, you can imagine, it's not hard to think of it. When you see food that is on the shelves of a grocery and it says that it's good for how many months, how many years, they've done something to it that it might not be alive anymore. So it's certainly not alive anymore, so it stays for that long. But something has been done to it that we're starting to be now quite far from the garden. And I would add to this the group 5, which is food now that is made in a lab. Like, I'm a vegan, so I follow this, what's happening, and food that is made in lab and looks like chicken and looks like burger. But I mean, I don't know how the body reacts to that. I haven't had the taste of it myself. I would not touch it, but I don't know how the body reacts to that. Like, I strongly believe the body recognizes food from the garden, the earth, what grows in the earth. So there is that. So that's the ANOVA food calculation. Now back to feeding our microbiome. So all there is to do, it is not difficult. All there is to do is to give it fiber and resistant starch. And that is found in Mother Nature's garden: fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, and seeds. As simple as that. Of it, because we have a variety of microbes. Think of the rainforest. In the soil, there is a variety, trillions of organisms that makes it so that what you see on the outside is so lush and so beautiful. It all depends on what's in the soil. So it's same for us. Our microbiome, if it's kept lush and fed, then we're healthy and beautiful human being, in a sense that we have energy, our mood is up, our clarity of mind. Aging doesn't mean having illnesses come up. So that's the same thing. So that's our microbiome. We need to care for it in that way. So a side note here, I want to say that when I say legumes, nuts, and seeds, so fruits and vegetables, obviously are plants. Legumes, nuts, and seeds, they're all seeds. So, a legume like a chickpea and a lentil and a bean, if you don't soak and sprout, it's a seed. And a seed is a living thing. It has a potential to grow a plant, but it's in a dormant state. Whereas a plant has germinated and becomes a living, and what happens is it unleashes and makes the nutrients bioavailable to the body. So it breaks down the seed when you have it at the germination state, or taking it out of the dormant state. Then what happens is the nutrients in it, because it's a, there are nutrients in the seeds, of course, but the nutrients then are made bioavailable to the body, easier to digest, assimilate all the nutrients. And what are those nutrients? The carbohydrate and the proteins and the mineral and vitamins, which are essential, of course, for us to be healthy. So sprouting breaks down the seeds, as I was saying, and sprouting does that. And when you think of sprouting, again, our ancestors were doing that. I mean, it's been done for years and years and years. So again, now, because it's not so convenient, we don't sprout. But we're losing here by not sprouting. Did they know what they were doing? Or when you sprout, of course, you end up with more food. Was it the reason? When you sprout as well, that's remarkable, because what I do in Living Cuisine, of course, I sprout, because then it's a plant, because I'm eating a living food. So I sprout, and I did at my cafe. I did that the same. I could not say, oh gosh, it's too much work and we won't do it. I could not serve my customer food that wasn't sprouted. So we sprouted everything. You can sprout. And when I say sprout, there is two expressions here, in a sense that sprout as in seeing a little sprout coming out, or activated, which means that you're taking the seed out of its dormant stage. So and that's what we did for nuts. The almonds, if you soak them for 24 hours and you crack them open, you'll see there's a little sprout. The other nuts and brown nuts that we soak, not the white nuts, because it's not necessary for them, the way they grow and how they are shelled, you don't need to sprout. The brown nuts, other brown nuts, they would be activated. And in doing that, as well as bringing it to a stage of now being a living nut or seed or legume, being possibly to grow into actually a plant. Beside that, and I lost my train of thought here. Oh yeah, beside that, the nuts, it's remarkable. You can see it. I mean, try it at home. Take a walnut, not a roasted one, because now it won't be living anymore. It's been cooked. But take a nut that hasn't been, processed of any kind, and soak it and rinse it. And you don't have a dehydrator, put it in low temperature in your oven, or even once it's been soaked and rinsed, have a taste. It's night and day. It's night and day. It's sweet. I remember as a child, it's a thing that is used quite a bit. Walnuts are used into making desserts. My mother used them, can't remember exactly for what, but she did. And then as a child, right, you just come by the counter and you grab this and that, put it in your mouth. I didn't like them at all, because you eat a walnut and at first it's a nice taste, but then the aftertaste was just not pleasant at all. And it's because they're not soaked. So what happens when you soak is you remove the enzyme inhibitors, some of the lectin, and then there's 3 other agents that you remove as well, which I forgot the name right now, but there's 3 others. So there's now 5 altogether. And why are they there? Again, Mother Nature is very clever. So those are there so that the nut or the seeds, the same for all seeds, the legumes the same, once they are into a seed, is so that when it faces the right conditions, which is the rain that washes it off, fall on the ground, goes inside the ground, starts to germinate and grows a plant. So that's why they're there. They're there to protect the seeds before all that happens, so the seed doesn't go moldy. That's why it's there. Very clever. But we should not eat that, because it becomes toxic for us. You see what I mean? So we should not eat that. So, some of you out there might say, oh, I can't eat this or that because my stomach. Well, maybe it's because it's not soaked and rinsed and sprouted or activated. So maybe that could be the reason. And that also brings me on a side note. Did you know that peanuts are not nuts? They're legumes. And peanuts, so they don't have all, those peanuts don't have the protection in the shell. And so that's why mold might start to grow on them and you wouldn't know. So that explains also the allergy at first. When it comes to nuts, it would be peanuts. And people say, oh, I'm allergic to this and that too. Well, it's also maybe it's in the same facility as other nuts. So there is cross-contamination. But yeah, peanut is not a nut, it's a legume. When you soak, and that's going to be part of my gift to you today. I'll show you. There's how to soak and how to sprout, which is so easy. It makes the difference in the world, you see. Because also, if you unleash and make the nutrients bioavailable to the body, you don't need to eat as much because now you're fed. You see what I mean? The body sends the signal, okay, I had enough. But if it's not feeding the body, it's asking for more. It's looking for more nutrients. You see what I mean? So back to the sprouting, you'll see that when you sprout, you soak and you rinse quinoa, buckwheat, lentils, chickpeas, beans. When you rinse, there is kind of a bubbly, foamy thing that is happening. Those are the agents I was telling you about that protects the seed from going moldy. You see what I mean? So you rinse until you have clear water coming out. Then you have washed it all off. And then you also get such a nice flavor of anything that you're eating. The quinoa becomes so much nicer and fluffier if you cook it. It's night and day. So try that. And as I say, it's going to be my gift today, so you'll know how to do it. Very simple and very, oh my gosh, there's no convenience when it comes to making our body healthy. I'm not sure about this. You have to take your knife out and cut vegetables and wash vegetables and do the sprouting like I'm saying. This is just what it is. Like, if someone would tell you, well, I'll feed you McDonald's every day and you'll be healthy. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I have to cut that out of the video. I'm feeding you food every day that is ultra processed. Would you say that, you would be healthy with that? No, you wouldn't be. So there you go. So that's what I'm saying is stick to what Mother Nature has created and to feed you, so to stay healthy. Let's keep on going now. Organic, I must add that as well. So when food is grown organically, the soil is richer because we know, we've heard that over and over and over again, that conventional farming, unfortunately, is detrimental to the soil. The soil is getting less nutrients because it's getting those chemical products. The microorganisms are not as present because they're being sprayed all over the place. And yeah, it might kill bugs, but it kills the microorganism as well, which we need in the soil to create a healthy soil. So the soil is richer. And the other part is the plant. When the plant, to who grows organically, they know the rotation of the plants in their field and what put next to another, and so that it grows. We have beautiful organic food right now. It's not like this kind of little, shriveled thing. It's gorgeous now that people have really regained the knowledge and are able to produce really that beautiful organic food. And what it is when the plant is left to its own to figure how to fight invaders, being that it's little, bugs and whatnot, and, and aphids and whatnot. When it's left to its own, it increases the amount of polyphenols. Why? And I'm going to read you this because it's a little bit more complex and terms that I'm not, not that I'm not familiar with, but I don't use every day. So polyphenol is a crucial component in plant chemical defense. Plants grow organically, regularly encounter environmental stressor that trigger the transcription of enzymes using polyphenol production. And the polyphenol aid in plants defense by accumulating in various tissues where they may neutralize free radicals. So you see, so the plant produces more polyphenols that neutralizes free radical, and in response to the environmental stressors, like I was telling you, the little aphids and bugs and whatnot, they are stressors to them. And by increasing, so that increases the plant toxicity. So it doesn't make it yummy for little bugs to come around and nibble at them. And then they can't, they don't grow, and they don't grow eventually if they nibble too much at them. And unpalatable to herbivores and other organisms. You see what I mean? So that's what it does. Isn't it brilliant? Now, when we then, human, consume a plant that has lots of polyphenol, it helps with fighting the infectious diseases. Isn't this just awesome? So, and they are, I mean, I can talk about it here. The polyphenols might help with blood clots, lowers blood sugar, antioxidant, harmful free radical, and also the risk of heart issues, promote the health growth of beneficial gut bacteria, digestion process, the list goes on. So you see what I mean? So organic. So eat organic, that's very, very important. And you might say, it's too expensive. You can create a buying group. I'll talk about that in the next show. Buying group. That's what I did when I started feeding my family this way, buying all organic at the grocery. I'm with you, it's expensive. So I created a buying group. So look at that, how possible it is in your part of the world where you live. And then create a buying group. It creates a community too at the same time. So it's pretty cool. And our microbiome thrives on fermented food as well, but starves to death on refined sugar and processed food. So, that brings us earlier when I was telling you, what if I was to say, okay, every day you just eat highly processed food? And then, well, there you go, you starve your microbiome. If you starve your microbiome, then you're not healthy. And let me tell you just a little something else about microbiome. When your microbiome is fed and can help and perform, and all the other microbiome in our body, it can put dormant, like you're born with a blueprint. I was born with my birth mother had arthritis, as you can see my finger. I used to have it, it's gone. I started eating the way I do, gone, 18 years, never came back. So I was born with that blueprint of having arthritis. Eating the way I did with eating the Living Cuisine, that went dormant. So all the pain, the incapacity I had with my hands and the swelling, I mean, my joints now are, they were so swollen. My little finger, I couldn't go further than this because it was so swollen. And now I can, I can totally, I can fold my fingers, but I wasn't able to pull a thread. It would just slip between my fingers, the incapacity. But there you go. So when your microbiome is healthy, it can then provide for your body what is needed to be healthy, meaning if you have something that is inherited in your family, it can go dormant because I'm sure you've been told or you've heard of it. Oh, gee, your mom or dad have it, you'll have it. Your grandparents have it, you'll have it. So, whatever, how many generations back, something was there, you're stuck with it. You've heard that, right? Well, no. So it's not like you can change your blueprint. You were born with it, but it can go dormant. So my arthritis is dormant. The other thing I had too was my skin. My mom had psoriasis, so very, very bad. I mean, skin issues was just insane. So that too went dormant. See? Isn't it wonderful? So you have your own doctor, your body. If you treat it, there is all those little doctors inside working for you to make you healthy. That's pretty awesome. What I'll do now is I will show you. I'm going to share my screen, and I will show you what I was talking about. There we go. So this is my email. Of course, you can see in the on the Win-Win Woman there where my show is, you have the information how to reach me with my email. But you can simply remember healingvegancuisine.com. Healing, HEALING, vegancuisine.com. And then, you can go there, you'll see my contact information. You can see my website and all the beautiful food that we can make when we eat this way. You'll be, you start to salivate just watching it. But here I am showing you, it's an ebook that I've created. And then you can see in there lots of information on Living Cuisine. As you can see here, there's my story, there's to find your why, which is in my previous show. Lots of it was covered in my previous show. So you see, you've got all of that here. But let me show you about soaking and sprouting. So there is here a page, and I'll give you also a bit more information than that one page, but you can see how easy that is to eat this way. It's just remarkable, all the, the positive that you have by eating this way. The other thing I want to show you, let me just go back here to my screen, and I will open, just see. I didn't prepare that ahead of time, but let me do this here. So you can see that's my website. You see the title there at the top, Healing Vegan Cuisine. So that's what there is to do, just that.com. And there you can see I have a shop. That is because it's for people that are in my area. So in Vancouver, I'm in BC, Canada, and they can go and shop there. Which brings me also to say that I will have a course as well on how to be able to do what I do. So I had a cafe for 8 years. Pandemic, I couldn't keep it open because when you serve fresh food, a case of lettuce doesn't last for a week. So when we were busy at the time that, before the pandemic, we would have food delivered every second, third day. So that's what there is to do then, always fresh. But when the pandemic hit and with all the restriction, I couldn't keep it open. From that, I have a private clientele that I deliver to, which is actually, and that's what I thought. I said, well, this is quite a neat, business to do. You can do this from home. You start eating this way yourself. And then after that, you can prepare. You see, your friends are going to ask you, can you make this for me? And you can start as a little business at home. So I have a course. And let me just see if I can show you a better way. Oh yeah, here we go. And here, so you can see a little bit of what my course is about. Of course, I have a page on my website about that. But you see here, look at all those delicious dishes here. So you learn that and more, of course, in my course. It's quite remarkable. And then, you'll learn the recipes, which actually are formulas, because I use Graham, very easy to recreate, of the dishes that were the most popular at my cafe. How to stock your fridge, how to be organized so things are easy and quick to make, how to, which equipment to have. And it's very simple, not that expensive, very simple. You have your kitchen organized. The sprouting, of course. And then I'm also saying, how you can become a vegan eating this way, and it's easy. When you have delicious food, it's easy to bring that to people and to your family. And also when with my system, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here. With my system of using grams, when you do this for your family, then you can tweak the recipe to what they like. So you'll see that in my recipes, the sugar and the salt is quite low. And at first, if you need to increase that, do, and then you can always reduce after. But I just did it and using oil. And so I use mostly the food, like we were saying, in that group one, which is unprocessed. That's what you'll find in my recipes. And they're easy to make. And I have a website not a website, sorry, but a Facebook, of course, that you can come to. And also, see all sorts of posts that I have there every week on different subject. I love to keep contact. You can also on my Facebook, that would be Agathe Mathieu, 1129. Now, let me just see. I'm going to get this right on time to show you my login again. Sorry. Oopsies. Oh, I can't. Okay, I can't do it. I'm not organized quick enough. But my Facebook is Agathe Mathieu. So what you see here on the screen, Agathe Mathieu. And then there you'll see lots of information. And there is a link to have a 30-minute consultation for me to discover how Living Cuisine can be part of your life. Wonderful to be with you today. All the best, and we'll see you soon.